Welcome back to another edition of This Week in 3 Minutes. I've called this one Denial is Golden. Well, bumpy markets again this week. The equity markets all over the place. I think we had a 3% drop the other day. Gold maintaining some sort of a floor around the 1200 range. Can't seem to get below that, or if it just dips its toe in, it springs back up. So I'm quite confident at this point right now. 1200 is a very solid floor or support line for gold. Let's see. Oh, we'll touch on the de-dollarization trend that every week news is coming out. Russia's giving tax breaks to those who use the ruble. And Japan and India have signed a bilateral $75 billion bilateral currency swap arrangement so these two countries can do business in their own currencies, of effectively eliminating the need for the US dollar. So this is a trend that's not going to slow down. Why? I don't know. JP Morgan and the Bank of France have decided to start doing business in bullion together, but this was announced this week. Interesting. Venezuela. Okay, so this $550 billion in gold that the Bank of England is refusing to give back to Venezuela is going to be very troubling for a lot of other central banks. And the reason being is that the B of E can arbitrarily come up with some erroneous reason as to why they're not releasing the gold, which sets a precedent for other central banks to wonder, well, can they do the same thing to us? So when they start requesting their own gold back from the B of E or from the Federal Reserve, and they will, there's going to be some interesting things happen with regard to the bars that aren't there, or the bars that have been hypothecated or loaned out or leased out or swap arrangements made on. There could be a scramble for gold as these central banks try and gather the real gold to return back to these countries because they don't have a good reason why not to. We'll be watching this closely. This week in Germany, the big money magazine there, Focus Money magazine, had a picture of Alan Greenspan on it. I didn't read the article because I don't read German, so I had to get someone to translate the title on the cover of the periodical, and over Alan Greenspan's face were the words in German that translate to "Whoever understands buys gold." I mean, how more clear can you get? Okay, so the big thing I wanted to talk about, why I wanted to call it Denial is Golden, is this week I was fortunate enough to have a paper published at a research outfit called Palisade Research. It got put up on a number of websites, including Zero Hedge and a few others. And it was talking about how gold is being remonetized, and and most people don't even see it happening. And so I listed in the article. I hope you go into the show notes and read it. It's pretty common tongue language, nothing too fancy, but essentially what's happened now is, under the new rules for banking viability that were brought about after the last crisis, gold has been revalued back to its historical role of basically a form of money, mark to market. None of this 50% valuation. Because of how liquid the gold market is and how it's not subject to counterparty risk. As of January 2019, under the new Basel III rules, when it comes to banking viability, any bank that wants to, now it's not that they have to, but any bank that wants to, just as you don't have to use the euro, you don't have to use the British pound, but if you do, that is considered money and liquid and a zero risk weighted asset. So as of January 2019, gold will be used for the same reasons that any major currency, the euro, the US dollar, the yen, whatever, it is being reinstated back into the monetary system as money. It has been remonetized through this banking rule system under Basel III, and as of January 2019, it's money, and nobody can seem to accept what they're seeing in spite of the black and white information in the article. So, people are baffling to me. On that note, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday.